Good Sunday evening from the TSP crew. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How are you? Good to see you. Hadn't seen you in since last week.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
So, before we get started, I want to start by saying thank you to our Patreon members. We appreciate you. If you're not a Patreon member and you like what we're doing, go ahead and click on the link below. Give us some support. And also, with that said, today is 9/11/2022,
Patriot Day.
21 year of anniversary of 9/11/2001. So I would like to start the show off with a moment of silence. All right, thank you very much. I just want to say, God bless the men and women of 9/11 and everything that happened after that. So obviously, we all know what happened. The Twin Towers fell. There was the Pentagon was hit. There was a plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. All the innocent bystanders, God bless them and their families. God bless all the men and women that fought after, before and after that. Gave their lives and put their families before. They put their families on hold and they went and fought these evil bastards. We really appreciate
Yeah.
them. Um,
Uh,
Andrew,
we
you're one of
thank
them.
we thank those for the bravery and sacrifice of those who saved
Definitely.
lives, such as firefighters, rescue
Yeah.
crews, and the people aboard United 93.
Yes. Absolutely. Andrew, how you
Um,
doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. We're just we're actually killing time because our guest, I think he's finishing up a cohort, and he might pop on later. If you don't know who he is, his name is Jake Clark. He was in the Army. He was in the FBI. He was in the LAPD. He was in the Secret Service. He pretty much did everything, and he started this
Oh, look,
amazing. Is he coming?
he's he just popped on.
Yo, Papa!
Look who's in the
What?
Army.
hizzy.
What's up, man?
What's
Army's always late.
up?
Oh, dude.
Always.
What's up, man?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. We can.
Welcome. Greetings from Warrior Village.
Oh my! I cannot wait to get there and see that. That is a great table. That's a new table, right?
That's a new table, gentlemen. Is that walnut or maple? Black walnut from the property, live edge.
Oh my
Uh,
lord, that's amazing.
Some
Participant
good
made that.
stuff.
We're really fortunate to make a couple more, and a couple of guys that are part of the crew, and Steve, who just completed the project, is here having a little bit of
Some
pizza from
pizza.
the alley, and these wings. Oh my God, these charred wings, and spun up in some sweet chili oil, are
Oh,
delicious, and
that's
yeah,
well. I didn't get any of that at my cohort, man.
wow. What a short term memory.
He's calling you out,
You
Jake.
But
This stuff was probably all gourmet, Richard.
uh, I know. Hey, we had some really good food, and the
Yeah,
the quarters were a little close, but I am so proud of you.
thank
Uh,
you. That means
I'm
the
so
world coming
proud
from you.
of Save a Warrior. I'm so proud of what you've accomplished. I mean, DAV, they completely rocked it, man. They helped you guys out, and I cannot wait to get to the Warrior Village in Hillsboro, Ohio.
When are you coming?
As soon as my wife will let me, because I was supposed to be up there in August, and I just had to divert my plans, and I'm sorry,
That's okay.
but I will. I apologize. Okay,
Hey,
That's
I
okay. Oh,
apologize.
wonderful. Yeah, it's okay. I know you'll get here when you can. And
hey, Jake, what,
Rich,
what part of Ohio are you in?
I would say we're just about an hour due east, northeast of Cincinnati, southern Ohio. It's beautiful.
Is it off
Hillsboro,
I
Highland County.
75 area?
Not off I-75.
Oh,
Close to 50, kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
I got
And this
you.
gentleman who's a benefactor of ours donated. Well, Andrew's been here.
I have.
Yeah.
He's been to the new Warrior Village because I remember we were on the ropes course together.
Yes, and I can still remember my 4 words. It took me a little bit to remember them, but
Your declarations.
my declaration. That's right. So
What are
before
they?
we get into that, Jake, I mean,
Okay,
because
okay.
there's a whole. I don't want to go through like the game
So
tonight
what's-
because it would take forever, and that would be the longest podcast we've ever had. But who are you,
Yeah.
Jake Clark? We start from like high school, like why you joined the military, what you did in the
Yes.
military after, and then ending with Save a Warrior. Just like in AA, like where I was, what I'm doing now, what I will be doing, that kind of stuff.
I grew up in a small town, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. And when I was 17 years old, my father, who was a Vietnam era Marine, said, "You're enlisting, and you're not going in the Marine Corps. You can go in the Army, you can go in the Air Force." And his concern about the Marine Corps, and I didn't understand the language at the time, but he said to me, they can't guarantee your enlistment. And being a 2-time veteran now, I understand. I would like to say if I had to do it all over again, I would have enlisted in the Marine Corps, but I enlisted in the Army. I spent most of my time in Central America, trained in a Cold War mission in a intelligence collection capacity on certain kinds of antiquated equipment that, it was not quite Morse code and it was like old school fax machines, and it was designed to intercept the Soviets. And I was sent to Panama to work a Cold War mission that didn't exist. So that was kind of disappointing. I got out. I was lucky enough to get hired by the Uniform Division, of the Secret Service, and was bored, wanted to always live on the West Coast, moved to Los Angeles, and became a cop because they hired me to come out west, and then went to school at night. Worked undercover for a number of years, went to school at night, and ended up becoming an FBI agent. And long story short, at 31 years old, my life started to come apart at work behind a conversation I had with someone. I was just someone that I figured out at 31, something was wrong with me. I hadn't had a drink in many years, but there was something going on for me internally that I didn't have language for. I didn't feel worthy of. Ended up leaving the Bureau at 32 and basically wandered lost, but found my way into the rooms of recovery at a very young age because I wanted to understand, the things I left out. My mother was mentally ill, institutionalized much of my upbringing. I remember her being gone a lot more than being home. My dad was a blackout drinking, compulsive gambler of whom I was terrified. And I don't know, I think at some point I wanted to figure out why I was so afraid of everyone and everything. Cut to age 35, a bit lost, 3 years out on my own, out of a system since I was 17. And the planes hit the buildings 21 years ago today. And I'm looking at a picture over here on the classroom of the events of 9/11, and a piece of artwork in one of the classrooms here. And I never knew that day was going to change my life in ways I couldn't begin to imagine. I didn't know that I was going to go on to bring forth something that would touch, a lot of lives in a really profound way. But I don't know. I'm just someone. I want to tell you who I am as nobody, but that wouldn't be true. I was trained in spirituality to be a nobody, but I've had a very incredible opportunity to bring something from nothing that I'm told has touched many, many lives. And 10 years on, almost 2,000 people have gone through Save a Warrior. We've had 8 suicides, 3 veterans, 5 first responders. In actuality, I think that number would be a lot higher if people had not come to this experience. I think a lot of those folks, including myself at this point, we might be dead, because we have been able to get underneath something that really is at the heart of our culture, that is beyond us as veterans and first responders. There's a real awakening happening in this culture around the issues that we address. And that's a very long answer to a very short question. But who I am is the possibility of being my word, being of service, being vigilant, and being a leader. And I get to do that by the grace of some higher power I call God, and because of really, really good people whom I'll never who I'll never meet, that send us the money to produce this work here at Warrior Village.
Sorry, I'm getting a little
Yeah.
misty right now, Jake. I just remembering listening to you during the game, and you saved my life. And I tell my story to a lot of people to try and get them, hey, if you're stuck, why don't you try Save a Warrior? Oh, what's that? What's Save a Warrior?
But you
It's
said the game. What's the game? Can you explain that?
The game occurs in a space like this, Richard.
Yeah.
The game is a 72-hour intensive integrative intervention where on a game clock you're going to confront yourself, and you're going to engage in the process of locating the source of your power and discover and dissolve the barriers between you and manifesting that power, so you can experience total freedom as only you can, and with that freedom be the person you've always wanted to be. And it's I'm not trying to be oblique or nebulous. It's very hard to explain that you enter into a conversation where you are the main character of the story of your life, and you get to see your part in every bit of your life and where it has left you and where you're presently finding yourself, with the opportunity to experience a transformation of the first order and walk out of an experience like this and further clarify this experience. And I think it's wonderful that Andrew is so on fire about it. That is not typical, although that is not unique. But I will say that it's wonderful that a young man like that can come to a place like this and days later, be walking out, and a year later or so be where he is. And was it a year ago for you, Andrew, or
It
2
was.
years or a year and a half?
It was June. I was actually talking to the other Jake,
So
Big Jake.
so it's 15 months ago for Andrew, and you can see that he's transformed his life. So all the power's in the question. And we actually had somebody quite exalted from DAV in the seat this week, and we held nothing back, and we are very, very blessed to have a relationship with them. But Richard, we started with nothing, and this is a conversation that has been in the culture for a long time. It's just that veterans and first responders will not typically attend it because it's too quote unquote weird. It
Yeah.
is weird to come up against yourself, and really you get to see yourself outside of yourself and who you're being in the world, and why perhaps your life is where it is. And it has absolutely nothing to do with why you think it does. That's the biggest surprise, is people come here under this belief that I know what's wrong with me. And well, if you knew what was wrong with you, why wouldn't you fix it? You don't know most people don't know what's wrong with them, because we think we can use the same thinking to walk ourselves out of our issues that walked us into those issues to begin with, because we all believe that something has been done to us. Nothing has been done to me by anyone. And as long as I believe that someone, something, some is has done something to me, you're going to die a death of despair.
So how'd you come up with this concept?
I'm a bad motherfucker.
Truth. That is truth. That is truth right there.
No, that's just me being an idiot. I will tell you this. I got really lucky when I was I got lucky growing up in a high degree of dysfunction. And one of the things we illuminate for people pretty immediate in the game is their adverse childhood experiences survey score, which is on a scale of 0 to 10, and I'm a 9, meaning I was raised with a fairly extensive amount of abuse, neglect, and dysfunction. And because of that, a lot of us create our own world. You know, I spent time in an orphanage, so I had a very active imagination, I believe, as a coping mechanism. So I was always inventing and creating and generating these ideas in my mind, probably as a survival mechanism at that time. And you know, I wanted to do the things that Tony Robbins could do with a human being in a very short period of time. I wanted to do things that Werner Erhard and the folks at Landmark Education were able to do with people in a very limited amount of time. And, you know, a lot of it initially is for the wrong motive. Part of me wanted to be somebody. You know, today I'm very, very content and satisfied and fulfilled being nobody. But I think when you grow up the way I did, there's this desperate need to feel significant because the self-hatred is so overwhelming, and the shame, what have you, that
Shame.
the complex post-traumatic protective stress response, it generates its own narcissism as a form of survival that will not be effective in the world in terms of relationships and connection. It may get me what I need in life. It'll never get me what I want. So a lot of study, a lot of seminars, a lot of mirroring and modeling, a lot of education, a lot of life. You know, being a street cop for 10 years was its own education. But I found some spiritual advisors that were very intense and very direct, and I learned to mirror and model their style, but to do so with a ruthless sense of compassion for people as well, because I was very blessed to find the rooms of recovery at a relatively young age. And I just was looking. I looked around the culture and just synthesized a bunch of things that seemed to be working. And you know, 10 years later, it's fair to say, and as Andrew is my witness, thank God he's here, we probably have the most novel conversation for a person that's coming here. I can tell you that in
Yes.
10 years, no one has ever said to me, well, I that's that's exactly what I thought it was. Most people are astonished by what they witness and what they walk through and accomplish in 72 hours, bell to bell.
My when I finished, I'm sorry, Jake. I didn't. I apologize. I
You,
didn't mean to.
no, you didn't. No, dude, you asked me the time. I'll tell you how to build a fucking watch. You please jump
When
in.
I finished, when I finished cohort 0141, the 5 hour drive home, my mind was blown. Like I was like in a different world. I was like, what is going on here? What did I just go through? And it just because of you, I haven't been on meds since that day, since June. I don't take.
You know, Richard, you hear what he's saying. Like that's all
Yeah.
Andrew, but that's a big deal. What he just said, since he experienced what he experienced here, he's not on his meds. And you know, a lot of folks who've come through here over the years have had a similar experience. But it's I have to imagine it, Andrew. At some point, you were thinking prior to this experience, you'd be on meds for the rest of your life, yeah.
Yes. Yes. In fact, yes.
And may I ask, if it's not too indelicate, how many were you taking?
I was taking mirtazapine, citalopram, trazodone, and then I switched. Then they switched me to Prozac, Wellbutrin, and then after my drive home, I haven't touched anything since. I
Yeah.
mean, my life is I'm free. I feel free. I feel there's two things that I don't do anymore. I tell the truth, and I don't want anything from anybody.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, listen, Richard, hear this the right way. Whatever he's touching, I wish I was touching it. And
Right.
every 500 folks or so, someone will have an experience like what Andrew's edifying. And but most of us have what's called the spiritual experience of the educational variety. Something like this will put us into a path where we're much more open to the possibility of going through a program that ends in anonymous, and working on ourselves in that regard. And over time, very, very slowly, but still consistently, our life begins to open up in ways that are more satisfying, more fulfilling, more rewarding, just just by showing up and being who we are as our natural way of being. I think what we're able to do is give people access to a world and a space of clarity to find their way to a way of being before the noise turned on in the head. And when Andrew says it blew my mind, this game is actually designed to blow a person's mind because people are trapped inside the mind. I mean, look, he's over there pissing on himself like a puppy with two
Yeah.
peckers. And I haven't loaded his lip. I haven't talked to him like this since he's been here. And I'm thrilled. And it's because we just finished up the 189th cohort today, and one cohort 1090 goes live next Sunday. And Richard, you have an open invitation if you'd ever like to come witness, participate, what have you. But there, every now and again, something happens in life where something comes into being that actually is what it says it is. And we're left at a place we didn't know was possible for us to, you know, find. And it's astonishing. But the key to this work, and I know Andrew does a lot of work beyond his experience. The key to this work is there's things that we suggest people do as a daily practice to clarify what happened here. Not for additional information, but to actually clarify, because the courage people have to sit here and tell their story in a very specific and directed way, because people want to tell their story a certain way that does not support them breaking the grips the story has on them. The courage that it takes for a person to be that open, honest, and willing, and get to a place of grief maybe they've never touched in their lives is incredible. That's what makes this game go. It's Andrew's courage to come sit in the seat, to touch that grief, to perhaps learn a different language and the ancient art of telling one story a certain way. Yeah, that never gets sold after 10 years. And yeah, I'm still a little bit coming down from the last 6 days because cohort 188 went, and then 189. We go sequential: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we're sitting out in the dining room here at the new center, talking about what just happened. And then, this time next week, we'll be gearing up for 0190, and there'll be
So,
10 more people there in the seats
all right.
behind
So
the
that
ropes.
that was my next question. How many people go through this, and how many days is a session?
You're looking at a 17-hour day. What happens here is it's an unbroken conversation for 72 hours that follows the monomyth of the hero's journey or the heroine's journey. But it's an unbroken game clocked conversation that lasts exactly 3 days. It is indexed to the same amount of time as a mental health hold in this country. However, we want to demonstrate to you what can actually be done in a highly intentional way over a 3-day period if you actually know what you're doing.
Oh
And
my, what, 72 hours Baker Act. You just
yeah,
said that, and I'm like,
yeah,
my mind I was like, yeah, that is right. I didn't
72
even
hour
think
hold.
about that a year
Yeah,
ago.
yeah. So we want to show the traditional medical model. We'll put our 72-hour experience up against your 72-hour experience anytime, and let's measure the improved outcomes at the end of it. And we help our folks discover. They say there's no biomarker for suicidality. I say there is a biomarker. It's called Adverse Childhood Experiences Survey Score. It's the ultimate biomarker. And then we give you a 500-day plan that takes about 20 minutes a day beyond the meditation technique. And most people are not going to do it in 500 days. Everybody's recovery journey is different. It's going to be about 1,000 days, but it clarifies again and again and again what you distinguished here, what you completed, what you declared, and what it is that you're integrating. And by the time you complete that 500-day plan, and look, you've got a first person direct experience and witness in Andrew. I think it would be fair to say that his life doesn't look anything like it did 15 months ago. Andrew, is that fair to say?
That is very fair to say.
Okay, and let
And
me ask you this: what did we charge you to come to Save a Warrior?
nothing. It's free.
Yeah, yeah. We've never
All you got to do is
transacted.
get up there. All you got
We've
to
never
do is get up there.
transacted. We've never transacted with a participant in 10 years. And like Andrew said, all you got to do is get up here. Those seats this year, they're about $6,200 a piece, and we raise all that money privately.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty good beggar.
How does somebody?
You're a very good beggar, sir.
How
Thank
does
you,
somebody
sir.
get on the list?
Well, you don't. There is no list. You submit an application. You're going to go through a very rigorous rostering process that consists of enrollment and registration, because we're not the right fit for everyone, and the rosterers are going to determine if we are a good fit for you. There's probably going to be an addiction issue in your life, so we're going to take you through the sponsorship program, get you through the 12 steps of recovery before you even sit in the seat, and give you a little bit of time to become what we call dry wood. Because a lot of people want to come in here off a bad run or out of a rehab or out of detox, and we don't believe you're quite ready for that. But if you go to saveawarrior.org, there's a tremendous amount of information at the website that tells you the story of why this organization exists, and hopefully what it can do to help you begin the journey of becoming the person you've always seen yourself as being. And we believe that you actually are that person. We're just going to help you discover all the reasons why that's currently not your given reality.
It's funny. I just had a drywood call today, sir.
See, Andrew knows we talk funny here, Richard. He knows
We
Yeah.
talk
exactly what I'm
funny.
talking about.
We talk funny.
We talk funny, and we speak English in a sense the way Greeks would have conversed in a certain dialectic 4,000 years ago. They spoke something called being. Most people speak in a sense of drift. They live in a future given from their past, and they don't know that they don't know that. And it's as if their foot is nailed to the floor and they're walking in this circle, and we help get that spike out of their foot. Sometimes people want to fight and keep that spike in their foot, but so far we're undefeated in getting spikes out of feet. But I got to tell you, some people walk out of here and sadly go back to doing what they were doing before they got here. But with respect to improved outcomes, I would say if you come here, there's about a 40 to 50% chance, if you put forth an earnest, consistent effort, that your life will improve in ways that you can only begin to imagine. But at least half the people who come here, when they leave here, for whatever reason, do not remain in that space where they find themselves at the end of this game, and they drift back to doing what they were doing before. But 1 in 2 odds, those are pretty good. If you were to go to AA, your odds are about 5 to 15%. You put rehab and a real effort on that, they might go up to 25%. I think we give you really, really good odds at not just a new normal. We don't speak any of that language of the post 9/11 era. Hey, come see the beautiful. We got a bitchin' t-shirt and we're going to pat you on the back and thank you for your service. We're not going to talk to you like that. We're not interested in your party affiliation, whether you're wearing the grunt style, doggy style, any style t-shirt. We don't fuck with any of that silly shit that's actually in the way of you having an authentic get down, let us hold the mirror up and be there with you and break through some of this denial that's keeping you stuck, drunk, drugged, numbed, watching porn until you're checking yourself into an emergency room for penis dry heaves. We're gonna have a real conversation about your addictions, because everybody who comes to Saul is an addict. And trust me, it takes one to know one. They're just not working a recovery program, and they're not working an integrative experience in their lives. and they're bitter and resentful and dramatic and moody, and they're either angry or they're numb, and the people in their life are just sick of their shit. Me too. I've been there. People
Me
in our
too.
lives are like, look, I get that you've been through some things. We've all been through some things. Suffering is not unique to one person in the human experience, but people in our lives are, most people come here when the people in their lives are sick of their shit, or on the rare occasion, they're sick of their own shit. And they're honest, open, and willing enough to get into what we call the shared honesty of mutual vulnerability, openly
Vulnerability.
acknowledged.
Yep.
We talk funny. So yeah, we're not for everyone. But if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and breaking promises,
Man, you have hit all the markers tonight, man.
bro,
all
I
the
got
markers.
I got the script right down there on the floor. And, yeah, but look, I've been in recovery for 25 years, and I'm no paragon of what that looks like, but I know what it looks like, and I've had men in my life that exemplify that and are, and lean into that, and go up my ass when I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Look, I'm just a messenger, and every one of us in life that is really trotted down the path of recovery, there's always one person that was there for us at that threshold, that most critical threshold. They don't look anything like we think they're going to look. They don't sound anything like we think they're going to sound, but they're there in that most crucial moment, and they kind of point us into a room that we don't want to go into, and before you know it, we feel at home, perhaps for the first time in our lives. I think this place is one of those places in this culture, for warriors to find themselves in.
You just explained my sponsor in AA, because he was nothing that I even imagined, and I learned so much from him. It's not even funny. I mean,
I'm really glad you met that person, Andrew.
oh, he's great. I still call him every day, 10 o'clock every day. It's like it's on my phone. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, call your sponsor. All right, good to go.
Listen, I'll tell you why Andrew is the way he is, because he has tremendous discipline, and I tip
Yeah.
my hat. Like he is as enthusiastic, and it's unbridled and unbounded, because he's a genuine article. And
You
I
hear that,
wish I
America? From Jake
listen.
Clark's mouth, right there.
Listen. I wish if I had the amount of spirituality. That guy's got more spirituality in his pinky than I got my whole right ass cheek.
Right.
I would kill for whatever he's sourcing. But Andrew is the kind of man that's going to touch countless lives over the course of his life, because
For sure.
how do you not want to ask him, what is it that you're sourcing? What is it that you're doing on a daily basis? And what I would imagine is he gets up, he makes his bed, he says
Makes
his
it. Yep,
prayers,
I do. I make my bed every single morning.
hits a meeting, works with others,
I
pays it
meditate
forward.
twice a
Yeah,
day.
yeah, I mean, he's leaning into it. He's got a practice. He's got a daily practice. And look, I'm either growing, or I'm shrinking, and sitting in my own stink pickle in a big old
Stink
adult
pickle.
diaper, and I've knocked my titty bottle off the high chair, and mommy's not coming. Hey, listen, mommy's not coming. I
Mommy's
learned
not.
that the hard way. Mommy's not coming. And I've got to get with safe men who are in the work, who are ruthlessly compassionate, decent enough to shoot me straight, and will share with me, for fun and for free, that which was shared with them. There's so many beautiful things about the country that we live in. We invented recovery in this culture in 1935. It never existed before. So for 87 years in recovery, in the self-help movement, in the biopsychosocial, spiritual realms, probably what America has brought forth, it's our own kind of Western Zen. The Buddhists have had these kind of paradoxical encounter experiences for time in memoriam, but we as a nation have had these for about 87 years. So that's still very new. But 100, 500, 1,000 years from now, we will be just as mystical, as those in the East, because this path that we all, if we're lucky, find ourselves on, it's no different than what a Buddhist is seeking, and that is a connection to some power greater than ourselves that can do for me what I can't do for myself. And that's not a religiosity, that's a faith. And you know faith requires me to believe in something that I can't see, taste, touch, feel, but I can have still at the same time a sense about it if I really look into my life and I see that no matter how bad things may have become, I've never missed a meal. I've always had a place to sleep. I've had a higher power that has done things for me that I could not do for myself, including getting me out of situations where I was not able to grow. I was not able to feel connected. I was not able to have the right kind of struggle. And I think what Save a Warrior is some attempt at an expression of that, to give that away to as many people as we can for fun and for free. And so far so good. I'm heartsick at the 8 people that we've lost, but more than 1,925 of us are still alive. Most people coming here have a prior suicide attempt, uh, and that is something I'm very aware of and very sensitive to. That we have folks here that are in tremendous psychic pain, and what we seek to demonstrate over those 72 hours is the source of your pain is not where you think it is, and it's not located where you think it is. So we will help you see that that pain is not even inside of you, that it's outside of you. And I think once we get that our pain is external rather than internal, we give ourselves another way to go.
We are not our number.
I'm not my number.
We are not our number.
Yeah.
See, we talk funny.
Yes. How'd you end up in Ohio if you're from Pennsylvania?
I met this really hot lady in a hotel lobby in Ohio, and she was drunk on her ass, and she was wearing a little black dress, and I did the math on her real quick, and I said, "Yeah, yeah, there's my next life disaster." And she said, "If we're going to be together, you're moving to Ohio." And I'm like, "Why would I leave Malibu, Ohio? But why would I leave Malibu to move to Ohio? The next thing you know, I'm living in New Albany, the town that Jeffrey Epstein built with Les Wexner. Oh, yeah, dude, you can't make this shit up." And I'm living in this gilded cage of self-hatred and shame, and I'm just like, how in the hell did I end up in Ohio? And I fell in love, or I fell in something. Either way, I bumped my head, and when I
Where's
came
this girl
to,
at now?
last I heard, she's in Chicago. She was
She's
very,
gone.
very, very successful. She was the CEO of a insurance company in Iowa and recently transferred to Chicago. And it's interesting. We met each other at exactly the right time to kind of run through each other's lives. And she was stunningly beautiful. I mean, I lived in LA for 26 years. I might have seen a nice looking girl a time or two in 26 years. I spent a lot of time in the motion picture industry, and I'd never seen someone so beautiful in my life. And it was like the universe said, "Go ahead and hand her the biggest club to hit you with." And she did. And and it worked out, and it turned out exactly like it was supposed to. And right now I'm wishing nothing bad for you, but I hope you have a listenership of about 3 people. You probably have 3 million. And
We're working on that.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
after,
I don't like to use terms of art like trauma bonding, but we met at a time where we were both a bit vulnerable, and we were not doing the things I don't think either one of us needed to be doing for that situation to turn out the way, maybe, because nobody gets married. I didn't get married till I was 49, and I certainly didn't get married with the intention of being divorced 3 years later. And it was devastating, but it took me to a depth of despair that led to an opening I wasn't expecting. And I finally understood, for me to become the person I always wanted to be, the only thing I had to change about my life was everything. And that's still a work in progress, but it's about damn near 96, 97% these last 5 years, because, this person was, I think at the time, the love of my life. And I said, you know what, if I'm meant to go to Ohio, I'll go to Ohio. I would fly back and forth from California to produce the work. She had this crazy idea about having Warrior Village in Ohio. And I'm trying to think, how could you do it without the weather we enjoy in California? Next thing you know, Warrior Village is in Ohio. And on 350 beautiful acres, we've done this
Wow.
work outside in 8-degree temperature with heaters blowing. But the game now is inside. When you do design thinking, iterative work against a grand challenge like veteran suicide, there's 4 stages: what is, what if, what wows, and what works. Saul is in the what works part of all that here in Ohio, and it's down to
Agreed.
72 hours. It's just enough time to get you unstuck and get you back to your life. But there's certain things that we've taken out of the conversation that just didn't move the action forward. But I've discovered, we can do this work anywhere. I've got some British folks coming over next month. They're very interested in the work that we're doing. We've worked with the Canadians. We've worked with the Australians. We've been knocked off at last count about 36 times. About 36 different organizations use artifacts of our work. And it started out of the trunk of a really beautiful car in Southern California that was repossessed one night while I was sleeping and minding my own business. Brother, when I mean I had nothing, I didn't collect a paycheck for 3.5 years. And I'm telling folks, you can actually become the person you've always wanted to be, but you cannot leave claw marks on anything that was part and parcel of your old life, because whatever you don't surrender, your God will strip away in the end. And I found that to be true. And I was told this for years and years and years, and I just tried to avoid the reality of what is required to endeavor to walk some kind of spiritual path. And, the spiritual is defined as your significance matters to me just a little bit more than my own. That's the spiritual path. And we have a saying here at Save a Warrior: we don't get ours until you get yours. You have to get yours first for us to get ours. And I just have such tremendous gratitude for the opportunity to work with people who come in here. But I'm going to let you in on another little secret. 99% of the problem of what folks are carrying when they come here all happened by the time they were 5 years old, 6 years old. It's not the things they think that are impacting their life. And we demonstrate that to them with science and data.
And that right there, that blew my mind. Like that
Yeah.
right there, what you just said, Jake.
Yeah.
When I first heard it, I was like, huh?
Yeah.
What?
90% of every SALT participant was sexually abused in childhood. 90%. And that's a big biomarker here too. And that's still, it's not that it's delicate, it's that we live in a culture that doesn't like to confront the reality of things. We're all about the fanfare and the grand gesture and the over the topness of things. And, but when you ask 2,000 people the same question again and again and again, and 90% answer it affirmatively, as a detective, they would tell you back in the day, that's called a clue. That's a clue. And there are certain corners of this space that don't necessarily feel really comfortable with me talking about that. If we can't confront the elephants in the room, we're never going to be able to heal from something that has been in our culture for a very long time. I'm convinced that the people they rounded up and put on the Mayflower were not being religiously persecuted. I think they rounded up all the dirty birdies in Europe, put them on a boat and said, float your shit that way. And,
Well, hey, that's my family right there.
Hey, dude,
Go to Virginia.
And they got off at Plymouth Rock and brought all of their dirty birdie bullshit with them. And we've been trying to run cover on that shit for 500 years. And I just won't do that. I just won't run cover for people that have had cause in the matter of me having certain viewpoints of life. And I'm in a community of practice that feels the same way, that we're all dealing there's an old saying that most men spend the last 80 years of their life trying to get over the first 5. There's some wisdom in that.
Right on.
And it's Fleek. I mean, Richard
I,
Fleek.
I, I don't think Richard was anticipating all this. I mean,
No,
I'm out there having
not at
pizza.
all.
I'm having pizza and wings, man, and then you just winded me up, bro,
I mean,
and said
right.
go.
When I heard him say that, I was like, it made me think like back to like the young age, and I'm like, oh my God, he's so right. Because I mean, what was it you said, Jake? Your parents, they tell you what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right. Like they're telling you what to do all the time, and that's gonna leave
They're
some.
gods. They're gods to us because of where we meet our parents and the way we have them ontologically, the way we have them metaphysically, the way we have them metaphorically. And until I get complete with those sources of my relationship, I will never get on the other side of the things holding me back in life, because there's a part of me, there's this part of us in the subconscious where you can do all the training in the world that you want, but there's only a couple of ways to impact the subconscious mind, and it's through hypnosis, it's through repetition, and I want to say the third one has something to do with mindfulness, because I have to ask myself, how does it learn? Because once we get to age 7, the young brain comes out of theta wave and goes into alpha and beta, and there is a cauterization of a part of us that is damn near impossible to get back into, to rewire some things. The good news is we were born with these internal adaptive mechanisms that make our brains very, very plastic, very malleable, if we know what to look for. And this proper secular spiritual initiation is one of those things. But caution to the listener, because somebody out there is going to apply and come through here and it's going to save their life, or they're going to think it's going to save their life. The work required on the back end of an experience like this is a big old $12 cheeseburger. You're looking at 3, 4, 5 years of work to clarify this experience. It is that transformative, that it requires that kind of attending to on a daily basis, so that return to that new way of being where you were before at a very young age in life, you're able to kind of walk through life on life's terms, experience the return of choice, have access to this thing called discernment or wisdom, because everything you ever wanted in life is already inside of you. We're just going to show you how to find access to that world. There's no tools, there's no prescriptions. I got no tips for you, there's no remedies, but there is a certain way of looking and being with that with which we cannot be, in such a way that it leaves us free, powerful, and fully self-expressed. And anybody listening to me knows that. They're like, look, this dude's either on a really good meth run with a side of crack, or he's telling me the truth. And I've been sober 19 and a half years. I've been in the rooms for 25 years. You name the room that ends in anonymous, I've been in it. As a matter of fact, we've modified some of these programs for the folks that come through here to make them a little more digestible, a little
Yep.
more soluble, a little more understandable, a little more streamlined. Because I'll tell you, the one thing about working with warriors is they're tough people. And they're willing to, when they feel trusting enough, which is its own battle, really lean into and lean on things and push up against and struggle. And if you're open to the struggle, you're going to have a really one of a kind, never to be forgotten experience. And you don't have to take my word for it. Talk to Andrew. Get alone with Andrew for an hour. Now, he won't finish a sentence, but he's going to be as enthusiastic as one could ever hope to be. And it's like, I couldn't think of a finer exemplar than Andrew. And hear this the right way. There wasn't a whole lot wrong with him when he came here. He was really, really working on himself, but it was like working on a Ferrari. It was a couple of turns of the dials. He went home and he's never not been on fire since he's walked out of this experience. You'd have to ask him, what happened? And he'd probably say, take the question mark off of that, and you have your answer. What happened? What happened? Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of power in understanding what language can do when properly used.
And
And I know we talk funny, and I'm not trying to fool anyone.
no,
I'm just it's like
he's not.
you're asking a fish how the water is that's never been out of water. And it's hard to explain to somebody who's but I think the people that are out there that are struggling, that are suffering, that are listening, they're hearing this. I think it's touching, moving, and maybe inspiring them enough to where they may go to the website at saveawarrior.org and hit the submit button after. But read everything. You know, be curious, be open, be curious to what's on that page, and find somebody that's been through Save a Warrior and ask them what was it like, what happened at Saul, and what's your life like now. And we just kind of let those testimonials speak for themselves.
Um, I know we watch a lot of we watch, well, not a lot, but we watch a couple good movies when
Yeah.
we're in Saw, and we look with our Saw goggles on. I was wondering, Jake, have you seen the movie Bullet Train yet?
The one with Brad Pitt?
Yes.
I have not, but I'll watch it tonight because
There
I've
are a
got
couple.
some
There are a
shit.
couple. I mean, it's a little gory, but there are a couple things where like, huh? I heard Jake say that before.
Well,
I
here's the
heard
thing.
I heard Brad say that before.
There's only one story that's ever been told again and again and again. It's a story of separation, initiation, and return with treasure. And the treasure for the hero, the protagonist of that story, is always the power and the wisdom to serve others. There's only one story that's ever been told. It's told in every religion. Sometimes we begin it at the end and then walk it backwards. But any good film is going to follow those iterations, that archetypal journey of we meet that person in their life, and there's this call to healing, there's a refusal of the call, there's finally the acceptance of the call, the crossing of the threshold, the meeting up with the helpers and the threshold guardians and the support, the the journey down into the dark cave, the abyss, the long dark night of the soul, the mourning and the grieving, the ceremony for the dead, the approach, the chasing after back towards the known world with the treasure, with the boon, what have you, the return to the known world. And the place, the same place, it for the first time, it in a way that you've never known it before. You see it in the Wizard of Oz. I mean, Dorothy finds out she's wearing the shoes the whole time. And how interesting that the Scarecrow wants a brain, the Tin Man wants a heart, and the Lion wants his courage, mind, body, spirit. And that story has been told throughout history. Why? Because human beings only do 10 things. We eat, we poop, we pee, we have sex, we ejaculate, we tell stories, we listen to stories, we grieve, we love, and then we pass. All we are is a tube.
Oh, oh, we are the tube.
All we are is a tube. And human beings only do 10 things. And 20% of them are tell stories and listen to stories. And the rest of it all has to do with tubes. So what we like to do here, Richard, is tell you a great story that is the story of your life, and relate, repeat, and hopefully reframe the way you look at this thing called life when you walk out of here.
It's very
I
interesting.
swear, I love hearing you talk about this stuff. I do, Jake.
I love seeing how on fire you are and alive you are, and I'm just thrilled for you. Again, I wish you could bottle it and sell it, because hell, dude, I would take it as an enema if I had to.
Well, that's very nice and kind of
You're gonna have
gross
to edit
at
that
the same time.
Well, hey, Richard, is this live or is this being recorded?
Oh, it's
Oh,
live.
this is live. This is live,
Oh,
sir.
for fuck's sake.
Yeah, you did it now. You should have asked that an hour ago.
Yeah, well, I should have looked to the top left of the screen where it says live.
But I would just people that I talk to, they hear what I'm saying, but sometimes you got to have the master, the creator of this wonderful program.
Listen, I am the recipient of the blessings of a lot of incredibly talented people that came before me: Wayne Dyer, M. Scott Peck, Werner Erhard, Ernest Kurtz, Carl Jung, Alice Miller, And I could just go on and on and on. I could name 100 names of the people. Listen, we're allowed to take credit for the footwork, not the results. Yeah, I have spent the better part of 5 decades studying incredibly talented people who wrote it all down, who turned it into documentaries, who had stories told about their lives, and on and on and on. And, all credit and gratitude to them. I'm just someone who found a way to synthesize things that were just laying around, maybe in a novel way that hadn't been done for a population like ours before. But thank God for all of the people who came before me, came before us, and found a way to memorialize it in such a way that I could be educated to, lead this kind of work. And for those out there listening, wondering, am I always this inappropriate? Fuck yeah, I am.
Yes,
But
he
I'll
is.
st-
Yeah.
but I'll come back for you. But I'm gonna tell you this: how's it going with that therapist down at the VA?
I
How's
don't.
it going? How's it going on that 5th trip through rehab? And they're banging your insurance, and maybe you're picking up the piece of a copay. How's it going? Promising yourself day in and day out, you're not going to watch porn till 7 in the morning, and you're up till the butt crack of dawn, doing stuff you promised yourself you wouldn't do anymore. How is it letting down the person in your life, be it a man, a woman, whomever? I have no judgment that you've made promises to, and you've made commitments to, and you're taking turns breaking each other's heart because you can't stop. Not certain behaviors, you just can't stop, and you're not willing to look and ask and begin to source your own power. Like I don't have those kinds of things in my life. I make mistakes, but I have good people in my life that are willing to pull me aside and lovingly tell me, hey bro, your slip is showing, or you need to take a look at that. But they're not shaming me, and they're not yelling at me, and they're not kicking me out of my house, and I'm not losing my job. And if you're listening to me and you're struggling, you're checking all those boxes right now. But I promise you, no matter what I say about this experience, no matter what Andrew says about this experience, no matter what questions Richard asks me about this experience, there is nothing that I can say to you over the course of this experience that will even begin to touch just how deep, how far, and how wide this thing can go in 72 hours. This experience, it is not what you think it is. It is designed to blow your mind and leave you in a place where you have never been before, or you haven't been to in so long that you can't remember the last time you were there. And if this program is not everything I say it is, I will cheerfully refund your misery, no questions asked. And in 10 years, nobody's ever asked me for their misery back.
I don't want it back. I don't want it back.
Yeah, that's
I'm
an ironclad guarantee.
I'm happy, joyous, and free right now. And
I believe you, dude. Like I said, I just had some pizza and Coca-Cola, and I'm not 10% as happy as you are. And I like pizza and Coca-Cola
and I
on
gave
gas
up.
stations.
I gave up Coca-Cola.
Dude, listen, you should be down here leading this program. I should be doing the interview.
Okay. We actually have to have a talk about that because I want to help out more. I really do.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I know Mr. Conrad, he put me into this drywood stuff, and I love it. I've helped out. This is my second person. I had my second call today.
Thank
And
you for doing
help.
that. Thank you
Oh,
for helping people get to where they need to be ready to fully experience what goes on here. Thank you. I tip my hat to you. I genuinely acknowledge you for doing that, Andrew, because it just absolutely alters the depth of their experience once they come.
Victoria, Laura,
Mm-hmm.
you, Brad, Adam, even Adam Sykes, who works at the VA, who went through the program. I can't remember which cohort Adam was with. Do you remember?
Yeah, he's in the Pacific Northwest though. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, if I'm thinking of the same Adam.
Adam Sykes is from.
I think isn't he out of the Bend, Oregon area?
No, that's probably another Adam. The one who in Murfreesboro, he was working on himself.
Okay,
I
I'm
don't.
very familiar with Adam because he does contribute
Oh
regularly
yeah,
to
no, he does. He always
the
is.
Sawdash alumni page.
Yeah, he actually put us on YouTube for this whole thing.
Oh, wonderful,
So now
wonderful.
it's on YouTube.
I was just under this impression. That's wonderful. For some reason, I thought Adam lived. We have a big diaspora, probably 100 or more alum that are in the Central Oregon area that
And
stay very
how many
connected.
states have you touched? 41 plus, like people.
No. I want to say it's 48 or 49.
It's
I
48
don't
now.
think we,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think we've ever had anyone from Vermont or New Hampshire. I think those are the last two states.
So,
But those people up there, they're driving Subarus just chilling, man. They don't need it.
It's funny. I used to live in New Hampshire too, and
Yeah,
it's true.
the
They
Nashua. So
Sobs.
Nashua,
Yeah,
Nashua,
that's where Katrina's from. My wife. She's from Nashua.
The Pheasant Lane Mall,
The Pheasant. Oh my God, the Pheasant Lane Mall. God, I haven't
Nashua,
been
New
there.
Hampshire. Yeah.
I haven't been there. And actually, my wife's mom was a school teacher at Nashua High School.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I was stationed at Fort Devens, and it wasn't too far, Air, Massachusetts. When folks wanted to get away, they would take a day trip up to Nashua to go to the Pheasant Lane Mall. And but I think, listen, we've had people from damn near every state, Canada, Australia. The Brits are coming. The British are
The
coming.
British are coming.
They want to send
not
some
again.
Royal Marines. They want to send some Royal Marines over at some point.
So
We've had folks from Hawaii.
are there plans to have buildings in other states?
No, we're gonna lean into the Web 3.0 platform, and one day you will experience SAW the same way you would stream any experience, because it is highly dramatized. It would be something that you could experience as something in the metaverse, and you would have a Red Xer who produces the experience be talking you through an edited Saw cohort that's already occurred. Like that would be season one, and then the following year, one that's already occurred would be season two. And there's a thing called speaker listener neural coupling, what we call others having gotten. You can actually have a transformational experience by witnessing and observing someone else having a transformational experience, because the challenges so similarly resonate with one another that you can then go into our 500-day plan. So we'll always be this small boutique one-off, but the Web 3.0 will be a quantum leap into a world where you're able to get this experience without ever leaving your home.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Whoa.
that's the next phase of Saul is in that.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up, because I heard a rumor that you were coming down you're gonna start up in Tennessee. I was like,
No,
yeah,
that listen, there's so many derivatives out there. And I tell folks, listen, if you want to have an experience similar to Save a Warrior, do the curriculum for living at Landmark Education, do the Landmark Forum, do the advanced course, do the self-expression leadership program, go to the Sterling Institute of Relationship, go to the Sterling Men's Weekend, go to the Sterling Women's Weekend, go to Mankind Project. But here's the thing, we as warriors, we're fucking cheap, bro. We don't spend any money on shit. And
me
all right,
too. Me too.
we'll squeeze a fucking buffalo nickel until a turd comes out the back end of it. But I've never been that guy. I spend way too much money on shoes and
He does.
investing
He actually does.
in these experiences, because I've always been by nature very, very curious. And I was very blessed. You live in Southern California. You can't swing a dead cat without hitting someone who's into some mystical shit. And I just kind of stood on the periphery of that as a Southern California resident for 26 years. But eventually, you got to talk to people, and they're going to share with you these experiences they're engaged in. They're gurus, they're sources of enlightenment, they're programs of recovery, they're experiences of integration. But once you start knocking all the patchouli and granola off of it, there's a core to every one of those experiences that have to do with unintegrated parts of ourselves, unhealed parts of ourselves. And when you sit across from enough people that you can tell have an insight into something, first of all, I find folks like that incredibly fascinating. I am a guy that's worked Skid Row as a police officer. I'm very comfortable in open air mental institutions. or experiences like that. And, but there are those among us who are enlightened and they're tapped into something. And if you just listen to them, like even Tony Robbins, but I mean, come on, are you going to drop 10, 15 grand, 20 grand, and then you got to go back next year for the updates, because I got some new shit? No, people like us that are not going to do that. We like efficient, we like compressed, we like a reliability. We want to know that someone who's gone before us, and again, I'm just pontificating, man. I'm coming off a 7-day run where 20 different folks have been here. So, just, grant me a bit of dispensation in the sense of, I don't believe that what you're looking for in life in terms of access to a certain way of being should cost you money. I think that part of the human experience is, as we age, it is our purpose and our mission to share those gifts with the people coming after us, because any of the things that I've ever received in life of real value, I never paid money for. And I think we live in a culture that is just so focused on consumption and drowning in information and starved for wisdom. I mean, look at the device. I'm holding a phone and I'm talking to you gentlemen, and we're having this experience together that's going out that somebody could be listening to right now. This experience like this was unthinkable 16 years ago. Smartphones came online in 2007. 16 years ago, and even then, until the platform was created and obviously really drilled down into in the COVID era, the world changed quite a bit.
Mhm.
It's a miracle that we're even able to have this conversation like this. You guys are in Tennessee, I'm in Ohio, and somebody's going to hear us tonight, and somebody's probably on the website right now reading it.
And we're
Right.
saving
I
we're
mean,
saving lives as we're
what's your
talking.
what's your listenership, honestly?
So live, it's a handful, but after it goes live off of YouTube, we package it up as a podcast and put it out. So it's kind of hard to tell. We probably reach probably 1,000 people a
All
week
right. Okay. So 1,000
right now.
people a week. 1,000 people a week. I promise you, 100 of them, 50 of them are going to go look at the website, and there's a few of them
Yeah.
that are going to go, holy shit,
Mhm.
that's available and that's free. And listen, there's some of them that are listening that are on tour, that have been to 5 programs, that have been to 10 programs, that have been to 15
They're on
programs, that have
tour.
been
I
to
love
20
I love how you
programs.
said that, on
They're
tour.
on
I love it.
tour. They're on tour, and they're running around getting all the free shit. And they're starting to get a little disgusted with themselves, if they're being honest with themselves. And I'm saying to you, if you're out there, if you're one of the 1,000 people that's going to listen to this in the coming week, the week after that, whatever, what have you got to lose? But I'm going to tell you this: if you
Nothing.
come here, it's going to feel like somebody reached down your throat, pulled your leather Cheerio out, and snapped it over the top of your head.
Mhm.
It's going to wake you up, and you're going to walk out of here incredulous, to quote Mike Tyson, incredulous
Incredulous.
that we gave you this for free, and that we
And
begged for the money to do it. And I'll tell you why: because there's parts of me, there's a time in my life before I integrated certain survival traits where I was a people pleaser and an approval seeker. Those are survival
Me
traits
too.
from what's called an adult child.
Me
Shit,
too.
you take me back 10 years, I'm not giving you this for free. You're striping a check for $5,000. Go wash cars, swipe a credit card. This thing is invaluable. But that's the business model we have, and we're very
Yeah.
blessed to have the donors that we do. And we have some folks that work very, very hard here, and you have to go out and really dig and scrape and what have you. And that's just part of what goes with the way we're set up. But I'm not kidding when I say this year those seats are about $6,500 a piece. That's not cheap. And I want to ask that person listening, when's the last time somebody put $6,500 in your hands? I'll give you a clue. It rhymes with never. Never has anybody walked up to you and just dropped $6,500 into your hand and said, here you go, no conditions, no strings. Because we have tapped into something that tells us that we are compelled to do this for you as long as we can, get you through the experience, orient you to the back end of it, provide you with the instrumentalities to navigate the next piece of this thing. And we're just tickled to death. And there's skeptics out there going, there's got to be a catch. You're absolutely right. There is a catch. The catch is there's no catch.
There's no
Now,
catch.
wrap your head around that. Because
Boom.
we live in a culture where there's got to be a catch. What the big print giveth, the little print taketh away. The thing here is, here's the caveat. Before you hit the submit button, ask yourself, am I done suffering? If you're not done suffering, we can't help you. If you're done suffering,
See,
we
this
can
is
help you.
this is why I want you in February, Jake, for our VFW midwinter powwow in February. This is why I want you, because of what you're talking about right now.
This is why you want to what?
This is why I need you to talk at my memorial service in February for the VFW
In Tennessee.
in Tennessee, and you'll stay at my house if you want to.
Yeah, I'd consider that a gift to the program. I'm in.
I will be your chauffeur. I will take you to White Castle because it's
Oh,
awesome.
right.
I have White Castle. That ain't no big deal, baby. You're gonna take me to Memphis to Interstate Barbecue on 55. I'm kidding.
I'll take you wherever you want to
No,
go.
listen. Whatever is fine. It's just it's a gift to get to come see you and come back to Tennessee, and I'll support any way I can. And thank you for asking me, because you're
You're
saving
welcome.
my life. Yeah, you're asking me to do stuff I don't want to do, and it's saving my life. So I'll do it with a smile on my face.
You are such a beggar. I love it. I love it.
Look, dude. I come with the begging.
Dude, Richard, he does this the entire time. I mean, 72 hours. This is his energy that he brings when you're in the game.
Yeah, but I work with the most amazing people too.
Oh,
There's
no,
other
that's true.
Red Xers that
You've
do
got
this
some.
work.
You
Yeah, they're wonderful. They're
can
all,
you explain?
everybody that works-
Can you explain Red Xer to
Yeah.
Richard? I mean, I know what
Yeah.
it is.
They deliver the content. It's a production company, and they're the main character delivering the experience over
Yes.
that 72 hours. And there's someone that's been trained extensively in all things metaphysical, all things ontological, all things transcendental, all things monomythical, metaphorical. They have a deep background in the beingness of human being, and they're very, very curious, and they engage with you in such a way that you end up telling things about yourself you had no intent on telling about yourself. And they allow you to look at your own humanity in such a compassionate way that you can't help but break through the things that have been holding you back your entire life.
So
Truth.
That's a Red Xer.
before I came on here today, Andrew was like, man, you're going to love Jake. He's got such a positive energy. You're absolutely going to love him. So you're right. I did not expect this conversation at all tonight.
That's one. Listen, Richard, I tell people, look, you're either going to love me or you're going to love me to death.
Yeah.
Because I love the people. I love everyone that comes here. And and we define
I
love
can see
as
that.
extending one's own ego boundary to nurture the spiritual growth of another. And all we are is love, and it's a return to love. But I will, again, I know some people are going to be jumping in at this conversation at different points. Yeah, it's all love, but I'm going to tell you this right now. This is a brutal experience. It is not easy. It is gut-wrenching. You are going to cry.
Oh yeah.
A box of Kleenex,
did.
by the time it's said and done, you were going to hit a grieving.
That's
that
what
you didn't
Andrew.
know.
That's what Andrew told me. But the way you're talking, I'm like, how's this?
I
brutal?
was a blubbering at the end of it. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to give it away. But at the end, I was a blubbering mess. I think I cried for like 15 minutes straight. Like the hardest cry I've ever had in my entire life
Was at the end.
was at the end.
Yeah, because of that thing.
Because of that thing.
Yeah, yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Which
yeah.
I was trying to
this a
find.
secret?
I was trying to. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
Richard,
secret.
it
I
is.
can't. Jake.
But it's the best kept secret, and you know
Jake
what?
will come over and wring my neck if I say anything about
Well,
what this secret.
And Andrew would do the same to me.
I
But
would.
there's things that happen in the experience, there's about 4, 5, 6 big ticket items that happen that
Big
really
ticket. He said it. Big ticket items. Oh, I remember you.
that
Oh man.
that get a person to the core of what's holding them back from disappearing that vicious circle in their life, and it's always our unmourned grief, and we're very comfortable helping someone get to that place in a rather deliberate and effective way, and it's really
I'm
more than
sorry.
anything.
I'm breaking down again. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
You got
it's a
Andrew
beautiful
again, man.
experience. It's a beautiful experience. It really is. It's it's like being in a spiritual maternity ward, seeing yourself being reborn outside of your body.
It's the culmination of
Yeah.
love.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I think that's a very beautiful way of saying it. It's the
I
culmination
don't.
of
It
love.
just came. It just came
I
to me
love
right
that.
now.
Yeah,
I should have
I
said
love
that
that.
like a year ago.
I'm going to take that now. It's the
Yeah, take it.
culmination of
Take
love.
it. Take it. It's yours. It's free.
Yeah,
Here you go, beggar. Here. It's free.
Bagger.
yeah, yeah. And like sitting here on the phone with you, 75 minutes into this, I'm back in this experience now,
So am I.
and
So am I. Me
I,
too.
I'm I'm
Me
s-
too.
I'm sitting in an empty room that was purpose built by love. What brought this into being is love, and I got to tell you, for most of my life, that was not my experience of life. Was love. It was survival, and it was this sense of being defective, helpless, and alone, which makes one lie, cheat, and steal, and hide, and dissemble, and you know move and identify as shame, and not that I made a mistake, but that I am a mistake, that I have to cover up and deny and numb, which leads to more shame and denial and
Black red.
dissociation,
Black
black
red.
and red, and living in these vicious circles, and then to have an experience like this where it disappears in an instant, and then something comes that allows one to get complete with the source of their relationships. It's almost like you touch this face of love, this face of God, and you realize that, oh, I get now why everything in my life has occurred the way it's occurred. It doesn't mean that what you experienced wasn't profoundly traumatic and painful, but what we are able to kind of get is that the other 99% of my life, love has always already been available to me at any time. And if I can get a sense of proportion, my life just opens up all the more, and it becomes richer and fuller no matter where I am, regardless of what my circumstances are. I always have something to contribute, and have this sense of worthiness for the fact that we breathe, and that we are our brother's keeper, we are our sister's keeper. And it elevates one's consciousness, and there's this return to love that it's almost inexplicable. How do you explain a miracle? How do you just we don't cause miracles at Saul. However, we do witness them every time the game is live. You can see it change. You can see a person's face just change right in front of you, and I can't deny the reality of somebody letting go of something they've been carrying 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years in a moment. It leaves one speechless, and I'm just fortunate enough to play a part in that experience with them.
Right. We're at like an
The
hour and 20 minutes, so I don't want to really keep you too much
Yeah,
longer. But my question is, do you let outsiders in your building to see what's
yeah,
going on?
we call them valued participants. If somebody wants to go through the Saw experience, all they have to do is submit an application. But we like to reserve those seats for somebody like yourself that has a platform, because I know if you were to go through as a valued participant,
Yeah.
maybe on the odd occasion, I mean, you have a lot of contact with the veteran community. Maybe this is something you might mention from time to time.
Yeah.
That, hey, if you're struggling, and you're dealing with things that are beginning to overwhelm you, and maybe you're going down a path that is getting narrower and narrower and darker, you might want to look into Save a Warrior. They may be the right solution for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, we would absolutely welcome you here.
I would love to come and visit.
Wonderful.
We will go. We will go. I'll
We got a lot
ask.
of room. We got a
I'll
lot
get
of
the
room.
right
It's
protocol
comfortable.
from
Listen,
Jake.
I'm gonna tell you this. If Jay Gatsby had a house in Southern Ohio, this is what it would look like. The gift we received it's stunningly beautiful. Andrew can tell you that. He's been here.
We'll
Yeah,
wait
It's a
outside the gate until they come and get us.
yeah, it's a stunningly beautiful property that was gifted to
Beautiful.
us by an incredibly generous benefactor who was so moved by the work that we were doing that was told to him by a 97-year-old World War II veteran who had had an idea like this for the better part of 50 years, since 60 years since he'd come home, 70 years since he'd come home from World War II. And he made this person aware of what we were doing. And this person spent millions of dollars, millions and millions of dollars to buy this property out of their own trust to gift it to us. I mean, you can't make this shit up, Richard.
Right, yeah.
And
It's
if you
amazing.
were to see this 350-acre retreat estate, it's breathtaking.
And
It's
I
just
only saw a little bit of it. Okay, I
was
haven't
gonna
even
say-
seen the whole.
Do you use the whole area?
no, I used what we call the Warrior Village piece of it. But I mean, if you came here and if you wanted to, make your way around the grounds, it takes a second to cover 350
I
acres.
bet. Yeah.
But you could spend a day here, just exploring. There's woods and there's a 25-acre lake and there's a lake house and there's the main house and then there's the cabins in the woods and then there's the Center of Excellence, this 8,000 square foot building I'm sitting in, and there's trails and there's fields and
Do you live on the property?
I do. Yeah.
And when I went through, they just poured the concrete for that Center of Excellence.
Wow.
I remember.
It's-
I remember
it's-
seeing it.
it's-
It was
it's
like
done
a
now.
skeleton.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen the recent photos of it?
I've seen the photos. I'm waiting for the invite for the ribbon cut. I mean, I know you've had the small opening. Is there a big one coming up?
No, but we are going to be offering alumni intensive next year for people that are done with certain parts of the literature to
Oh,
come
good.
back and
Okay.
maybe get a booster and bring folks back in groups of like 25 and, let them spend a weekend here and let
'Cause
them.
I know
just
somebody
kinda-
who wants to come see it, and his name is Poppy.
Who's that?
Poppy.
Oh, Poppy Smith?
Poppy
Well,
Smith.
listen, me and Poppy are from the same hometown. Poppy knows he can come anytime he wants.
I just saw Poppy.
Yeah.
God, like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I love Poppy, and we're talking, Richard, about a dear friend of ours, Kurt Smith. He and I, not of Tears for Fears, but of Mountjoy, Pennsylvania. But Kurt Poppy Smith, we named him Poppy because he always wears a poppy, and incredible human being who spent some time here on staff with us. He's coaching football now. He's coaching
is.
Pop Warner football and
Yep.
Fire Service Marine. Wonderful human being. And,
I was honored and grateful to serve with him.
That's right. You guys served together.
We did 2 tours together.
Yeah, and he and I just happened to be from the same hometown and small town in Pennsylvania. And I went to high school with his older brother. His older brother was a few years behind me. And look, anytime you and Poppy want to come here, you just gotta let me know.
Oh yeah. Hey, Poppy, if you're listening, give me a call. All right.
You know Poppy's listening.
We got to make
man.
this happen.
He's wearing his Adidas Yeezys by Kanye.
We were at a reunion and we were talking Saw Shop. Okay. We were so intertwined in conversation. Like there was a reunion of our boys going around and we were like, we just ducked out of there and we went to a lobster place and we got lobster and had a really nice lunch. And we were just talking shop about
Would they bang you for that lobster lunch? Would that?
Oh, you have no. It was like $250.
Listen, did you pay or did Poppy pay or did you guys go Dutch?
Oh, we went. Actually, our buddy Mike Anziano, he paid for the whole thing. Like I had 2 lobsters. Kurt had 2 lobsters.
Yeah. Poppy ate like he had 2 assholes.
Oh.
How do you eat 2 lobsters, man?
Oh my! It was amazing. It was bliss. I just dunked it in butter, and I was like,
Well, Andrew,
"Ah."
speaking of good food, how good is the food at Warrior
Oh,
Village?
I know I made that crack before, but the food at Save Warrior is amazing. They put their heart, their soul, they put love into that food, and it is good. Like when you have to
Right.
eat, you eat, and you are fulfilled because there's no snacking. You don't snack. You get fed when they tell you to eat. Okay, you make your bed, you meditate, you go to breakfast, you go to lunch, you go to dinner. Okay, you eat when they tell you to eat, and it's
I,
just the
I-
most
I'm glad. I'm glad you say that. We're very, very blessed, and there's wonderful food. There's wonderful food all over this country, but this part of the country is known for certain kinds of food, and they don't miss. And we just put beautiful $150,000 Breckenridge kitchen in the new building, and
it's
the
uh,
ladies that cook for us are wonderful, and that they put so much into the meals, and it's just wonderful. I eat once a day, so I'm hungry.
I just saw
I only eat one
pictures
meal a day.
of some ladies cooking
Yeah, that's Bobby and
from the
Jaretta.
alumni page.
Yeah, Bobby and Jaretta.
Yeah,
They closed a local restaurant. They were so moved by our mission, they closed a local restaurant. They went into a catering business. They do all of our meals, our breakfast, our lunches, our dinners.
uh,
There's a set menu,
that is
and
amazing.
I mean, they did a pork chop on they did a pork chop on Thursday night. Dude, I don't have the words for it. I'm not a huge pork fan, but they do a pork chop where you're leaving like a sliver of the bone. It's like it
Uh,
there's
Heck yeah.
nothing on the bone, and every one of the men in the seats, I was like, listen, how's that pork chop? And these guys are like, come on, bro, come come on, bro. Yeah, and it's all made with love, and it's Midwestern cooking and greens and potatoes and
very
beautiful
healthy and
great
very good.
salad, wonderful desserts. A lot of things here made from scratch. And we look, we're hammering on these issues that we have while we're here. So we really want the meals to be so enjoyable and so delicious, and it's just another way of expressing love for
And
people.
the one thing, I mean, the meditation that I got out of Save a Warrior, it just
The warrior meditation, yeah,
the
the
warrior
warrior meditation.
meditation,
Listen,
it
if you want to do it, it's at Facebook on our Save a Warrior page. It's free. We've got 176 of them up there that are recorded from the time of COVID. I really recommend Adam Carr's initial, or do listen to my Evening 33. I think you'd really like Evening 33. Poppy loves Evening 33.
I do it twice a day.
Yeah. Ava,
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 ava.
Ava,
Oh
Ava,
my gosh.
Ava. And the
It just
breath work
it
and
brings me
metacognition.
so clear of like
Yeah.
what I need to
Yeah.
do for the
Yeah.
day ahead. And then it gets
Patented
me
technique. Patented technique out of a
pa-
book called How God Changes Your Brain by two neuroscientists out of the University
oh,
of
that's
Pennsylvania.
right.
Great
Yeah, that's
science.
right.
Everything we do here is trauma informed, evidence based, and best practices. It is a center of excellence. It is not a center of mediocrity. We do our level best to go above and beyond to really, really focus on the quality of a person's experience.
I just
And we're
looked
out
you
of
up.
time.
I got you.
Hey,
Oh,
hey,
wonderful,
hey,
wonderful.
hey. That's
Hey,
awesome.
let's
I had
cut
to
this
look it
off
up.
at 90 minutes, unless you're going to try to be Joe Rogan and go for 3 hours, because I got to poop.
Nah,
Hey,
we try to go 60 minutes, but it was so good I
you,
didn't want to stop.
no,
Well, listen,
what you were peddling. Okay, people need
I
to
love it.
hear what you're
If
peddling.
nobody
Yeah.
Okay,
told you, if nobody told you they love you today, I love you. And if Brad Gallup was here, I'd say, hey, Andrew, if nobody told you they love you today, Brad Gallup loves you.
I
Yeah,
love you. Hey,
I
I
love you
love
guys.
you, brother.
I love you so.
I'm
Listen, I love you, and I love your energy. And
I'm right here. I'm giving you
I'm
a
gonna
hug
carry.
right now.
I'm so touched by how large of a spirit you are, and I really encourage you, Andrew, to find that the biggest platform. If this is it for you, wonderful. Grow this audience, touch these lives. You have a
Yeah.
tremendous gift. You are the genuine article. You have come back from more and more people. You are always so kind in your communications to me, and I'm just so grateful and appreciative to you and Richard to have this opportunity to share a little bit about what goes on here in the 74 Hour Experience
It
in
was
the
our
community.
pleasure for
It's
sure.
gonna make me cry
Thank you.
again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Man,
I love you guys.
Yeah.
I love you, Jake.
All right, man.
Thank
Be
you,
good.
sir.
Take care and
Bye-bye.
Be
thank you.
good.
All
Wow,
right.
wow.
All
I'm
right.
just blown away, dude. Again, I mean that, and I was blown away like last year. He is amazing.
All right.
We need to go
Well,
up to Warrior Village, man.
I definitely want to know. All right,
We
well,
will. We'll go. It's only 5 hours away. It's not a bad drive, and you go through a Shaker Village. You go through Kentucky. Yeah, we could go get some Skyline chili
hell yeah.
on our way up there. It's easy drive.
All right. Well, I want to tell our listeners thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next Sunday.
Love you guys. God bless.
God bless.